So we would need a motion to approve the 2022-2023 biennium interlocal agreement with Regional Public Defender for capital cases out of Lubbock.
I'll make the motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Now, just as a recap, what happens is that this covers all the legal fees if there's a capital case for the state to provide an attorney for the defendant.
How many years do we make a contract?
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Well, and for a while they weren't keeping up with it, so we didn't see it, but they're keeping up with it now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Today's 27, 26, 27. The next thing I wanted to cover is discussion and possible action on the BRINSAT bridges under contract with County LaSalle, Texas Department, including dedication of funding to the bridges. These BRINSAT bridges, and here's one stack, and I know you've had them before, but you can go through, are 5 bridges. One is Valley Wells at Espio Creek. Another one's Valley Wells at the Draw. There's another one at Cochina at the Draw. Holland Dam at Elm Creek, and then El Jardín at the Frio River. And the projected cost for Valley Wells is $941,620 with a county match of $94,162. And the Valley Wells Draw, their projected cost is $675,120 with a match of $67,512. The Cochina one, the budget is $937,210 with a match of $93,721. The Holland Dam is $1,054,880 with a match of $105,488. And El Jardín is $2,054,240 with a match of $205,424. The biggest concern I have is that the last bridge that they did, the original budget was $3 million, and I believe it came out to $4 million. We did one on Holland Dam Road right there before the Hickson, and the original budget was like $3,200,000, and it came out to $4,065,000. And they signed a waiver, and we agreed to the waiver, and the waiver was $566,307. We did that in Commissioner's Court, and we passed it. So, in essence, with the waiver, my understanding, to make this correct, is that we have to do it one bridge. It can be the lowest one out of it. So, this would be the Valley Wells Draw at $675,000. That's their budget. We might be able to build it cheaper. The concern is that we need to make sure this money is appropriated. That means everybody pitches in. If, for example, we don't do this and you do it on your own, Commissioner Navis would have to come up with $94,162 to $67,512 just to do yours. Commissioner Alba would have to come up with $93,721. On the Holland Dam, have to come up with $105,488, and then Hardin would be $205,424. These are not bond projects; they're out of your monies. And if the bids go up higher, then you pay more. So the key is if we're going to build the cheapest one, instead of doing the match, which would be pretty close to $700,000, more than that, or maybe not. Let me add it. Is actually the same amount, is $566,307 that we'd have to. The best way I think you would divide that money would be on a weighted average. So you take the two bridges that Navis has, which would be what, 941 and 941, 620, 675, 120, and divided by the total cost of the whole, rather than 4 equal ways. Otherwise, some commissioners would be paying more than doing it on their own. On the Cochina, instead of paying $93,000, you'd be paying $141,000. It'd be divided 4 ways. On Holland Dam, you'd be paying $141 instead of $105. So if you do it weighted, then you're going to pay only based on what the match is. So the match was 94.67. That's what you're going to pay. Your match was 93, you're not going to pay more than that. Your match is 105, you're not going to pay for that. And that would be the best bet. And that would come up as a weighted. You pay 205, the same amount you were going to pay on them. That way you're not taking from one or the other. This is what I pay. I'm not going to pay any more than match to build that bridge, because we have to build that bridge. That means that we have to pitch in the money probably sooner than
they start.
Than anything else, probably next fiscal year. So we budget that amount and we put it in. But I wanted to have you clear understanding on how it works.
What is the total? 500,000?
Total was on 566,307. And they gave us this like last year.
No. You just want to divide it by 4?
Huh?
You want to divide it by 4 quick?
Well, this is how much you'd have to pay.
Yeah.
And this is how much we thought, and then, but they say we have to build one bridge together, all together. So we all have to pitch in. But he was gonna pay the match anyway, so was Jack. It equals the budget for, of the lowest bridge would be this. Yeah. So you wouldn't pay no more than this. You wouldn't pay no more than this. Because if you divide it 4 ways, then you're taking more money from than it should be.
Yeah. No, está bien.
So, but I just, this is what you always be paying, which totals what the state gave us. But if you divide this 4 ways, then you end up paying more.
If you add it all, everybody.
Yes. But I want to make sure we get that clear understanding that it's going to be, no more than what the match amount is for all the bridges. That way, Mary and Jorge know how much to transfer or save up in the next budget. It's clear.
So they won't start to run next year, Judge.
Next year, Jorge,
In the Jardín Bridge, the river bridge starts in December now?
in December, starts one,
I
right?
heard.
So they said, yeah, later this year, they're gonna let a couple of them, one of them, get the hall, and then one night, it's going to spring.
So,
But they're gonna give us an update for next month.
so when would we have to do that payment?
Well, we're gonna have to budget that money for next year.
Yeah.
Because sometime around November, we have to give them any money. I don't think we have to give them any money based on that. We just have to do one our own ourselves.
The time frame from the agreement was signed to complete the bridge, so we have 3 years from when we signed. So we have time. So if we do it next year,
But would it be best to take that bridge now and do it now? At the same time, maybe one of these contractors will bid it as well?
there's somebody in the area that,
So you try to time the construction of that bridge around the same time as the other ones that maybe you get, a lower price because the other contractors are doing it. But it'd be for next year's budget. So I want to make sure we agree, and even though we've agreed on the Bridgeside program, we've accepted, we've signed all the contracts, that the payment for the bridge is going to be no more than the match amount from each individual commissioner. So you're not paying any more than you're supposed to, you're not taking away any more than you're supposed to.
So on that one, whatever comes out of, whatever we have on our road and bridge hauling, will come out of that.
It's going to be a little bit less because they're doing 566. That means that you're going to have to build that bridge for 566. It's going to be a little bit less. It'll be a little bit less than what your budget amount is there. Mm, 566 and 600. Tell you right away.
Yeah, 100,000 per million.
Yeah, 566. $108,000.
Per million?
Yeah, it's gonna be less, so.
Form, 10%.
Two, 5, 4, divided by 7, 108. So yours would be $39,000 less. Yours would be $30,000 less by doing it this way. So instead of 160,000, it'd be 130,000. And Commissioner Alba would be 17,000 less from the 93, 70,871. And Commissioner, yours would be 19,440 less. So, that's, by doing it this way. You know, unless the bids come up higher, you know.
Until December 20.
So that means that you pretty much have to let it out at the same time. So, and that's what I'd like to see is a motion that for the treasurer to allocate in the budget, no more than the match amount less the difference between the state match amount and the lower bridge of 675,000.
So as soon as the new budget comes in, just should pull it out to have it already
You should put a
separate,
line item. It's still gonna be in your bank account, but there's gonna be a line item.
especially for that, that way
Yes,
we won't
for
get
the
mixed
bridge.
up.
There's gonna be a line item.
Yeah.
It'll be a special line item. Should do it.
So when are they starting again? Like next year, 23?
Yeah, next year, 23.
22? Not this year.
No. I don't know what, did you get any more information on how, many bridges were awarded in TxDOT in the region?
They never let that to, in August.
But just for this year or for all of them?
After that 10 years. And I don't know if it was prior visa or
We got after the state because they weren't giving us information on how these bridges are awarded. They're supposed to award them every 2 years. And our bridges have been hit really hard based on the oil field. So we started putting a lot of pressure where the money was going and they wouldn't give it to us, but instead they gave us 5 bridges, which is unheard of. But it's gonna help, but you still have some other bridges that need repair as well. It doesn't take care of all of them. And we still need to talk to them about your other bridges and see what other bridges are failing, because anything over 20 feet is considered a state highway responsibility. So, I mean, you know, we'll just continue to stay on top of them and chase them down. And that's how we've replaced a number of them in Cameron as well. So we would just need a motion to allow the changes that I mentioned with primary in the next budget cycle.
I'll make the motion. And Jorge, is that all the bridges, they won't get started till next year, December?
they were maybe letting out the fall.
Mr. Martin keeps asking me, he thought he was gonna be this December.
It may start at the end of this year and go on to next.
Okay,
But they're gonna give us an updated schedule at the next meeting.
all right, thank you.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is made in second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Number 7, well, wait, number 6, number 7, discussion on on-call services charged to bond fund accounts and clarification of use of funds. When we borrowed the money, it was for roads and bridges and the infrastructure that we've built, which is like this building, the library, the annex, and for the sole purpose. So all these projects have to come before Commissioner's Court. When it comes to on-call services, even though the on-call services come through Commissioner's Court, the project itself has to come in. And the concern I had with the bonded projects, and I'll give you an example. We approved work to be done on Valley Wells last year as a work authorization. And when I went through last year's expenses for engineering, a total of $446,000 were charged. But the monies that we were using from TxDOT is only about 2.5 million. And several years ago, I spoke to Mr. Rios in reference to the Hendrickson Road because the extension cost us a lot more than it would have been a traditional project because the on-call services end up being a higher cost, 20% versus a 10% charge. So if we were only going to do $2.5 million, then at 10%, the most you'd be paying is 250, not 446. So that's the concern. And I'd ask is engineering for the full road. Because on Valley Wells, if you remember, Commissioner Ayala, you were here, when we first started at the well house to determine what projects, Commissioner Hinojosa, Chris IV, wanted to do Valley Wells. So SMB started on that. Then Commissioner Gonzalez came in, he wanted to do Carroll.
Yeah.
So that work was done on Valley Wells. Now, you've got work to do Valley Wells to do the whole thing. So this is the second time, but if they engineered the whole road, we may not get back to it, then some of the engineering work is gonna get old or stale or have to be updated, so you gotta do it a third time. And that's the concern, that it has to be very specific on the work order, that you're not gonna do more work than there's money to pay for. And that's the concern that I have on that, that it can't be that way. It's nothing that anybody did wrong.
No.
It's nothing that anybody did wrong. It's that we gotta have that clarification. We gotta have the clarification. So the goal is to try to free up as much bond money that we can so we can finish the Valley Wells so we don't lose that engineering. But don't like work authorizations like that on projects that would be, because we end up paying a lot more, especially that S&B has a multiplier that just shoots it way up. So we did ask Danny, and I think next month we're going to meet and talk to him about some of those things that have to be addressed. And so I don't think we have to take action, but I just wanted to bring that to you. That's the way it goes, because the work orders are higher than if we pick a project to do. For example, Commissioner Ramirez paid $120,000 through the bond on that second bridge. That shouldn't be a bonded project, but it came out. So what I'm asking is, now we got to make sure we take care of the bond fund, see what money's available, and make it a bonded project so we don't lose that engineering as well. Because they're not all bond accounts, and then if he doesn't know, then he's thinking it's a bond account, he's spending the money, you're thinking it's the money, and it hurts them. So we got to get a clarification of that.
So what percentage do you think it is?
What's the percentage you're charging on the contract? Is it 10%, 12%? What's the max?
It's a year.
Well, both.
Engineering is around 10%, but when the on-call, or the inspection services, when it's all added together with the special service, the environmental, the oversight goes up to like 16.
16. Top.
On-call service is hourly, it can be set to a budget, and it's already at that first multiplier that firm has. Or it's a fixed amount based on percentage of estimated construction, which is you're alluding to. You want to have it where it's specifically set, and it's not a go up or down. One of them doesn't have a cap, and if it's on-call service, the other one is set based on the construction.
See, because like on the Valley Wells at 466 or 4, whatever we paid, that doesn't have your management, doesn't have your testing, doesn't have your oversight, so that's going to go way, way up. Way, way up, so that has to be contained. That has to be contained. So I just wanted to let you know, that's what I hadn't had a chance to go back and look at the books on how it works, and I haven't looked at them all because I think this new software is a little bit harder to understand, but we'll get there. But it's not to take anybody or put anybody out, it's to get clarification so your money will go farther. And that's the whole purpose of it. So I don't have any action to take.
Okay.
Number 8, discussion, classification, and action of TechSite grant funds for county projects. I don't know what the status is on these projects. I know we've made some changes. I know, Commissioner, you wanted to do force account. The only thing is that we agreed to put $500,000 of the bond money into everybody's budget. And I don't think it's gonna work for a force account.
Okay.
I don't think it's gonna work for a force account. And when I say take it away, you can do another project for 500,000, make it a bond project, but I don't think it can be used for that. Not for a force account. And I know there's a lot of pressure. I think the Commissioners Court have built a lot of infrastructure. We've done a lot more the last several years that's been done in many, many years. And, but there's limits on how much money we can raise. And right now, the values went down probably by about $1 billion. So we just got to try to hold on to what we have for this next year. So just, it's possible we can come up with some more bonding money, but until the pandemic is done and is stabilized, I wouldn't suggest issuing any more debt. And then once we know. But I didn't have any questions for that. I just wanted to, to let you know that, hey, you can do forced account, it's fine, but that 500,000, you're gonna have to do a bonded project out of it.
That's what Jeff's talking. Well, Jeff had explained that to me, that's why I was looking forward, but it's okay.
I'm gonna skip the next item on the disaster declaration. And I'm gonna go to discussion and or possible action authorizing Attorney Keith Franklin to update model subdivision rules, including inclusion of roadways to be added to the South County map and all other actions necessary there too. Now we covered that thing with an Ensenada. Should we get an attorney to look into it? And we got one, is a resolution adopting comprehensive model subdivision orders. And then we have a LaSalle County roadway policy. And then we have a roadmap. And normally under our policies, even though there's a dedicated road, we can't fix it. We can go through each year in a road report and determine what roads we're gonna open, and it has to be done. But there's been changes in the community that allows, and I know like Commissioner Ramirez had asked about Cherokee Road, and said, no, it's a dedicated, but we can't do it, we just can't do it. So this allowing the Fullerton to address this allows us to address other roads as well. And Keith is from Cotula, and he's an attorney, and I said, hey, you know what? Let's give him a chance to fix it. I mean, so we'll go in. You got some roads in Fullerton that are dedicated roads. They've always been roads, put material, it's fine. We got to add them to the roadway. You may have some people over here in precinct in Artesia that wants you to add them, and you do it. But right now, the way the policy says, they gotta bring it up to specs, even though it's a dedicated road. So that means we can't go into it, so you have to make that decision. We can change it to where it gives you the opportunity to help them out, because otherwise, you might have kids that need to get to school, you got some poor people who live there and they can't get out, and you gotta make that decision to give them access. You may have to spend some money. Same thing with precinct 1, you may have some roads that are dedicated roads that you wanna open up. Well, we open them up. I know you had some problems with some motors over there that's dedicated. They said, well, you know what? Let's get him to help us out. So we all know Keith. He's a pretty good attorney. He's local, and let's get him a chance to do some work. You know?
Nah, I don't.
Huh?
Got enough roads.
Huh?
I got enough roads.
There's a whole bunch of them in Gardendale that people want to open.
Well, in Gordondale, there's some people, and I have a lady that told me that she wants to open it, and that the water hydrant is on her side. And, you know, we can look at that, but the surveyors are sometimes off. But we have a roadmap, and we have to stick to a roadmap. And even if they're dedicated, then this is the policy that says they have to bring it up to date. And like some of these people are too poor to do so. So let's change it to where we add what we need to and, you know, take care of it right. The biggest fear that I have is like what happened in the Grace River Road. In the Grace River Road, Ayahuasca, there was an old abandoned road. And that abandoned road would go all the way to Coquet. And there was a dam. I think, Jorge, you remember that. And there was a lawsuit because they were trying to force the county to maintain it because it was a dedicated, but we abandoned it. So there's a procedure that we follow that they have to bring it up to spec. And we have to be real careful because we don't want them to come back and make us fix a road that costs several $1 million. And we're not going to be able to fix it. So we got to change the policy to identify those roads, add them to the mapping, and make sure that we don't get drawn into some other fights. Because you got roads in El Tito, you got a whole subdivision. And you've had some people that are landlocked, there's still lawsuits out there. And the last thing is you want to get forced as a commissioner's court to open up a road, because we did it here and we did it there.
But most of the ranchers are the ones that closed them. They didn't want nobody through them.
And they're dedicated.
Yeah.
And they're dedicated. And like over here in Charleston, you got one side and the other side, and it's public.
Yeah.
But some of the people complaining there, you know, for example, the house on Chancho, they're on an alley, on a dedicated alley. So they start pointing fingers to each other. And then you get caught in between.
I noticed that.
Huh?
I noticed that.
So then we get pulled in between. But I think he's from here. He knows the people in Fullerton. I think he can talk it. So I think he'll be, you know, give him a shot to work on this. I talked to him a couple of months ago, and he said, you know, he was interested.
I think it's his driveway.
Huh?
His driveway it's like a street and
Yeah.
dead ends.
So we gotta change those model subdivision rules, otherwise, you know, we can't add those roads into our inventory process. So whether it's Keith or whether it's Donato or McGinnis, you know, it doesn't matter, but we gotta get someone to change those rules.
Okay, do we need to take
So,
action?
yeah, we would need motion to authorize
Keith Franklin?
Mr. Franklin to
Make changes.
make changes.
I'll make that motion.
And I asked Donato, he didn't have a problem with them because they're caught up in the lawsuit right now.
I'll make that motion.
So motion has been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Somebody said something?
Motion has been made and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Number 11, discussion possible action on pricing of fire station, central air by board contractor Express Commercial in the amount of $185,300. Robert, are you here? I don't have a copy of the bid. I know Don sent me an email, and I don't know if you can brief it, or maybe I do. No, I don't.
The fire station, just the Petula one or this one?
Well, we just kind of let the commissioners know, what's going on. We called the insurance company and we came down and looked at it and said the insurance didn't cover it. Didn't cover it.
What they say was that, have to be like a disaster. That was from, the way they installed it, so they installed it correctly. So they don't cover that.
So they got mold in there and we had it tested and the mold came out and they have to remove the air conditioning system and the sheetrock. I think you removed the sheetrock already or not yet? We can probably, try to file a claim of summit, but it's gonna take a while, a minute. It was a design, or maybe they put it in wrong. But, that's gonna take a while, but it still has to be repaired right now.
Yeah, part of the, I mean, it's a design issue.
And Robert reached out to Ocio and Ramirez and the surrounding, and they couldn't do it. So the best and fastest way was to go through the buy board. So the buy board has a buy board contractor that's exempt from the bidding to be able to fix it. And it's gonna be everything.
No, you didn't have any more warranty, no? How old is it? The one in Petula?
I know that George and I, we looked up at that other,
Jorge, you spent a lot of time on there. How old is that system?
2015, something like that, no? Supposed to be 10 years.
But at this point, we called several contractors, local ones, we called out of town, that's one over there. And I have a hard time getting these numbers, and I guess everybody's been busy, but, I'm expecting one more.
Yeah.
I was expecting yesterday, and I was in today, but we're at the point where we shut down for a while, so, you know, we have the light, we can move forward and get it done.
Where was most of that mold on the air ducts or
Yeah, here's that.
the air ducts?
Some of it was on the inside, but most of it was. I didn't think it was like this right here. It was falling on the firewall. It was.
Those little company like Root, they give you 10-year warranty, but I don't know who do.
It's warranty, when it comes to stuff like this, you know, these ducts are self-insulated, so for it to happen, they have to have some kind of penetrated.
Something
So at this point,
false.
there's no choice but to replace it, which means the best way to go on. It's not a lot, it's like crazy mode where, you know, it's just, and that's just what we have to do. This is what, there was this one area that had a real bad, mold, the other ones was just, I guess it was really mold. if you wanted to, you know, just with a claim, you know, but we gotta get it done now.
Yeah, fix it as soon as possible.
So right now the firemen are staying at the EOC and they're responding out of the EOC, until we get it fixed. So, I mean, we can go after them. It's gonna take longer. They'll be out longer.
So más o menos about how much longer is it gonna take?
Well, we need to authorize the repair. Do we hire this guy from the buy board or,
It takes a month,
or do we sue him and maybe
take longer.
a year?
We fix it.
Them guys, they're pretty crowded over there.
Yeah. And if it's through the buy board, it's exempt from the bidding. If we want to put it out for bids, you have to do a design, Jorge?
It's gonna take time.
You have to do a design. You got 2 weeks on the design, 2 bids to,
It's gonna take a lot longer.
And then it might be more.
You guys spend more. It's one with the time crunch that the fire department would use the facility.
Yeah.
And it's costing you more money and time, than just getting it out of the way.
That-
All I hope is the price we got, that it is set, and that we get everything together.
and you've done work, part of it SMB, and SMB has done work. So then to give us pricing from you on the design of the AC, you know, ballpark figure, how much you think that's gonna be? $15,000-$20,000?
I mean, and
You know, each. So then you may come up with the same amount of construction cost, so it's gonna be more than,
And it should be getting bigger, because right now we're having a hard time getting people to get just that work. It is invasive, you can imagine that an existing building, you have to tear everything down, put it back. A lot of people just get in there, do different things, and get out. So it's a little harder right now, so we're seeing on that one.
Cause you gotta remove a whole bunch of that
There's gonna
stuff.
be a lot of people, you gotta bring it on that.
Yeah.
So, you know, we ask you for a recommendation, I think, we have a guy that's ready to start work, as long as they meet your timeline and they meet your budget, then we'll follow.
So let's go with by board. I'll make that motion.
Second.
I would add to go ahead and on top of that, get it started, but also give it to, Mr. Ramos to look at,
Paperwork.
to Summit.
Summit.
To Summit or it may be the air conditioning people, for a possible claim.
So we can't get started?
No, yeah, we'll get started.
Yeah, let's
But
get
at the
started and continue
same time,
with
we're gonna try to recover the cost from,
Correct.
maybe the insurance, the manufacturer or the
Manufacturing.
installer,
Install this,
the sub. And if you would amend your motion to reflect, go ahead and get it started and then submit a claim to the subcontractor for not putting it in right.
I know it's been a long time. I can't remember, but do you remember who was there? I'm trying to, who was the company that put that AC?
No, it was Summit that built it.
Yeah, but who was the company that put in the AC, the company that did the AC?
And see, the problem is the warranty is already out. The bond is out. So the possibility is if it's a manufacturer defect, it should probably still be under warranty as far as the system. Huh? Well, we'll try to file another claim with the insurance.
I'm in my motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those, same sign. Number 12, discussion possible action on accepting donations to the County of LaSalle. We have Plains Marketing, an amount of $4,000. And who's this to? More. You got more? For the sheriff's department? $4,000 from Plains in the amount, for the fire department, another $7,325 dollars to, fire department, and $500 from AA Best Bond to the sheriff's department, and $1,000 from Tehadina Towing to the sheriff's department. So we would need a motion to accept these donations.
I'll make the motion there.
Is there one for main marketing for $6 for the first office?
There's one in plain marketing for $4,000.
Planes.
Okay, no, it's $6,000. Okay.
Is that for? Okay. For safety.
Correction, 500 AA Best Bonds, Tehadina 1,000, Plains Marketing, 7,325 Fire Department for 4,000, Plains Marketing, Sheriff's Office 6,000, and Sheriff's Office 4,000 from Plains.
Wow.
All right. Commissioner Ayala,
Make a motion?
in second.
Second.
The commissioner had donated something.
A motion has been made in second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Number 13, discussion possible action to approve, deny applicants for the design build. So we got qualifications from two companies. Alert, Roof Systems, I believe Flores, right? I believe Flores.
JJ, ¿cómo se llama? JC? No.
I thought I had Flores too. Maybe, okay. So, there, over each.
For design of what was that called? The roof?
Each. You got it?
You want this one?
Yeah, JJ Flores.
That's for you? And so I understand both of these contractors are decent contractors, so your next step would be for pricing for each, pricing and schedule. So our motion would be to go ahead and authorize to proceed to the next step for pricing. And I know you're both doing this, but have you been the one working on this?
Yes, sir. Mr. Ramos' office, as you mentioned, the first step was to go out for RFQ to determine a contractor that has an architect and or engineer that can do the work. The second phase, after we select the top three, we move on to the scheduling, the designs, and also pricing, and also for them to submit the type of material. So since we only got two, they both can move to the next phase to start that process. Once they submit pricing, schedule, and everything that you need, insurances, then you can review that and make a decision.
That's for this building, right?
This one and the live one.
Did you all get to look at this?
Yes.
I sent you all
Yeah.
in your email. I don't know if you, did you all get to look at it?
Yeah.
The roof survey.
I only have one extra one. But Cordova also got a contractor to look at it. And in theirs, they're saying, well, it's only 81,000. They think we'll do it, but they're not offering any warranty. And the key is, do we trust them? Because he said, well, everything is fine, nothing is wrong. the building is good, but then they come back and take pictures and show all their defects. So I would say proceed with the estimate, to getting the pricing, and then once we decide, maybe Cordell will come up with something better. But the contractor finally admitted that they did a horrible job. And
Talking on the roof, Josh, last week an individual drove by here with one of his friends, and as soon as they made that turn, his friend looked up at the roof without even knowing, and he just saw it and said, the first rain is gonna leak, because it's not crimped, not even known that this roof already leaked.
no, and they admitted in this report it's not crimped, and it shows things, but the thing is, Cordova hasn't honored his other warranties. He hasn't honored his other warranties, so I said we proceed to get it installed. You know, Flores is a very well-known contractor. Alert is a national contractor, very professional, and they're the ones that did it in the jail, and I don't think we've had any problems with them at all. So I said, go with the next step, the pricing, and work on the pricing. Robert, how are you? You're not here? Robert Lee? Robert Martinez? Robert Perez? Okay. So we would accept the two applicants, which is Flores and Alert, and proceed to the next step for pricing and schedule. And warranty. So we would need a motion for that.
I'll make the motion. Right?
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign.
Yes.
Number 14, discussion possible action on pipeline agreements, water crossing, and driveway permits. Do we have any, Marty?
Driveway permit.
What?
No.
Hines and what?
Leverage.
And
White ball range. Okay.
white ball, no, yours is white ball.
White ball is in Hines.
Well, I think it was different.
Yeah, that is more new. Because that's already signed.
Oh, yeah. Buscaron Road, name Wahuco. Yeah.
Dale. Silver. Venga. Le diga owner. Right.
It's like
27. Why?
Que haya pipeline permits para que den vida.
So we would need,
No había. A ti.
we would need a motion to accept the, permits and and pipeline agreements as presented. Just make sure they have the insurance. Okay, only pipeline permits? It's only required on that.
Water. First.
I think in water, they're still supposed to have insurance, if they hadn't been, because if they have a leak, they'll damage the road.
So now we got the little bridges.
Well, sometimes there's no pipe at the driveway permit. I mean, they'll just make like an entrance and there's no cover.
No culvert?
At the casino, I don't even remember if they got a permit, driveway permit.
Running on the water.
The water comes in, well, but I mean, it's still gonna come down that road because it's hills.
The biggest concern would be to have the insurance on your paved roads.
On the
Because if they get a leak, because they all leak water,
Yeah.
to see if they do damage. That's the main thing you have to look at.
Yeah.
The other ones don't really matter. But if these roads are paved, then we gotta make sure they have, the insurance.
Yeah, it gets everything wet.
Well, they just cross across on the one end bridges or covers or something.
But what happens is many times where they connect, they're leaking a lot of water. And I saw that in your precinct, north to the county line. Years ago, they had a lot of
Yeah,
water.
back then they had that aluminum pipe with the clamps. Now they got puro.
These clamps?
Yeah, back then we used that.
So, I mean, that'd be all judgment. So who made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
So the motion carries. Jorge, do we have any budget amendments? There being none, we'll move forward. You're still working on those totals as a prior period adjustment?
Nothing.
Mr. Flores, you're still working on those prior period adjustments?
Yes, sir. I have a worksheet, I just need to identify exactly which commissioner is involved in each one of those on-call services.
You know, in reference to budget amendments, and I know people have been asking, employees have been asking, I know the sheriff's department and fire department have been asking, as we prepare for the budget cycle, but also for this year, can you let us know where we stand on cash? You know, to finish out the year, and, you know, is it possible that there can be any increases, you know, for
Breakdowns.
pay? I know that a number of employees that've been through the pandemic, including county, have gone above and beyond what's normal, and something like that would be appreciated if we can do it. I don't know if we all agree on that, but, you know, we all send your workers everywhere, and, I think if we can do something, it'd be very helpful for them.
You mean like a raise?
A raise, cost of living or something, we need to.
Been asking.
Well, we've been asking, but that's what's in the budget, for the next meeting, or let's say within a month for August, if we could look at now and also, I mean, something in January, maybe something small now and then something else in January.
The general fund is a very, now. So when I prepare the budget, I will calculate a two-step increase, just so you all will know
How much?
what it will cost.
Okay. So, but can you also look to see what maybe a one-step increase would be now?
Yep.
So end of the year?
A little line.
$1.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Jorge. I don't know if you have any more questions for him? I'm going to proceed to number 19, discussion and or possible action on realignment of justice of the peace, commissioners. The last meeting, I had it for discussion. And we've been going over this for a while now, and we even covered it during the budget cycle. Because, you know, the revenues drop. And I've been looking at, and I got spreadsheets that show how much money is collected by precinct over the years. And I think I've told you all in the past, when we first started, you know, some of the constables earned very little. I mean, $200 a year, you know, $300 a year, very small. And it was based on the activity and the money that came in. And I know that we brought up precinct 4 because it's been back and forth. But since 2005, basically $200,000 has come in for the general fund. $200,000 has come into the state fees. I mean, in all those years. But we've paid out, and above and beyond that amount, 1.2 million that we've paid out. And in most places, you run it like a business. You got the income that comes in, you got expenses that go out, and there's no money, then there's no money. But we're taking money from other funds and putting it in JPs because there's not any money. So we lower it, and they say, oh, we'll do better next year, and do it, and it doesn't go. It's been back and forth. So the whole thing was to make the Commissioners Court, Commissioners Precincts exactly as the JPs. And we covered it in the budget cycle, and we agreed on that, and we voted on it. And then we hired Kilis Aman, and there's a long discussion where we talked about it, and we even agreed to build JP offices. We agreed to build JP offices, and we hired Kilis Aman, and we've paid for that amount to be done. And then we approved the designs to be built, and I know he has some that are ready to go. Now, then in March, we brought it up, and you were not here, and we voted on it, and I mean, we have the recordings to play and how much we've covered it. But if we go back to the way it was, something has to happen. And in the budget cycle, you may have to do cuts because the money's not coming in. And doing so, you know, if there's no work, then they throw it back at us. Well, what work do you all have? You know, and it's hard.
But you still have the same, you're still gonna have the same 4 JPs, right? I mean,
Same 4
you're
JPs.
not gonna lower JPs, you're not gonna get more JPs.
What?
It's gonna stay the same.
It's still 4 JPs.
Yeah, no,
It's still 4 JPs.
that's why, I mean, it's the same cost.
But some are making money, some are not making any money. So why is everybody getting paid the same when some of them are not making any money?
They don't get paid the same.
Right now they do.
They do?
Oh, yeah.
Right now they do. Except JP1, they get paid more because she has more
3%.
volume or had more volume. But even then, on JP1, the volume has gone down a lot. And Vicky used to collect for the general fund from $900,000 to $700,000 a year. and now we're budgeting 400,000. So basically it just covers it. So the fees have gone down. I know the pandemic has slowed it down, but it's had a downward spiral that the monies hasn't been coming in. And Trigo's cases have been coming up, and Frank's cases have been coming up as well. So he was really happy that he was getting those cases, because then it gives them a reason to have a job as well.
I talked to Frank Weichel, and he said he's good. On Malogrinos, there's not a lot of work. I mean, it could be, I know when we went to one of the conferences, the constable's supposed to take care of their JPs. But since Malogrino can't take care of her, because husband and wife, who would pick up that area?
The thing is, if you do it wider, then there's more tickets that can come in out of precinct 5 to precinct 4.
Instead of just
So the volume,
you give me
the
5.
volume goes up, then they get spread out. They get spread out. And I know JP1 has been asking for tickets from DPS. And you know, an officer can take a ticket wherever they want. There's no law that says that they got to go to the JP. The defendant can ask to change venue, but they don't always do it. So you take a ticket to a JP and write it, you know, unless the defendant asks to change the venue, then that ticket will be heard there. So right now, maybe some other troopers are comfortable with the other JPs and they're taking the tickets over there. You know, that's on an individual call basis for them to decide.
Because on the last report, he did pretty good. He's been doing good
So they're getting,
on his job.
they're getting more tickets.
If there's not enough work, would there be a way
And we need a constable over there.
for Malorino for JP Malorino to pick up the slack and come in magistrate like every other weekend and then slide the other ones over?
But we've
And if the money
we've covered that, and it doesn't happen.
Well,
We've
if
been
it
going-
doesn't happen, we'll cut the budget. I mean,
we've cut it and done it back, cut it and coming back. And the whole goal is if, you know, make it the same as everybody else. If you're gonna do it, make it the same as the commissioners. You know, we pretty much took several actions. We took action in the budget, and that was part of the budget that we were gonna not lower it because only $1,049 came into the general fund last year. So we kept it. And now we've hired, you know, architects. So if you want to go back the other way, I'm saying, if you don't want it, then you pay for the architect fees out of y'all's budgets. Because
that
you
means
can't be playing games back and forth.
No.
And if you can't do it or you do it, we're gonna cut Megalorino because business is coming. Well, the business not coming to Frank, the business not coming to George, you're gonna cut them too. But they're gonna throw it back at us, okay, you commissioners, what do y'all do for work?
Well, they did last
You know,
time. Remember
you
that
know,
time?
it's gonna backfire on y'all.
we do a lot of work and we answer a lot of calls, and I mean, everybody here, and it's gonna be up to them. That's why there's an election.
Yes.
If people here think I have not done enough, with all respects, they can vote me out.
But the thing
They're gonna be
is,
upset, that's up to them, that's why there's an election. Hey, Jack, I'm not happy because you didn't do this, or you didn't put this street, vote me out.
I've been very clear and I
I'm
have,
gonna be happy.
I have the very clear and I have the tapes here. We can play them. We got the March one where we covered it detail, and then I got the one where we covered where hired Keyless, and we went through it very, very in detail. And everybody asked questions, and I believe Jack and Raul made the motion to hire Keyless Alman for those new JP offices.
But nobody wanted to say
And-
nothing. I mean, I've never wanted an office. My pickup is the office.
No,
But I want an office.
but
I want an
JP
office. I want an office.
I mean, for the JPs, for the JPs.
JPs, they need an office in their precinct.
So we had voted on, and passed it. And I'm hearing that Jack, you want to change it back and you want to change it back.
Talked to Frank, and he said he was happy how it was, and he's bringing in a lot more money. He says he's good.
He was happy with 2 and 6?
Leave it how it is.
No, he was happy with just 2, just staying with 2.
He's not getting from 2, he's getting from 6. He's not getting from 2.
Oh, he said that he was.
But I'm telling you, right there in Frank's office, over the last years, we've paid out a lot of extra money, and there's not enough money. And if we're gonna cut them, then the commissioners, you work full-time, and I'm gonna say, you work full-time, I mean, you work elsewhere, you're not here with your people all the time, so we take cuts too. So we're gonna cut the JPs, we take cuts too.
I can take a cut too.
The same,
My team
because,
that I got, I don't have to babysit them.
you know,
I don't have to
because,
babysit my crew.
because you made us here, and we have the testimony, unless you wanna hear it, where you said you agreed, and we spent money, and now you're changing it, and we have
No,
to pay.
I talked to Frank Wyco, he said he's okay, and. I
He's
said,
okay right now that he's getting a lot of tickets from DPS. That's what I heard. He's getting a lot of DPS from Artesia this way. That's what all tickets he's getting. He wasn't getting nothing
He had
before.
a small precinct. I mean,
Because he's getting from the other precincts,
Yeah.
and he's getting from 6, and he's getting from 3, because they're taking them. But if you're gonna go back where the precinct and draw them away, they're not gonna get them. They're not gonna get them. And you gotta make a business decision, and the business decision is not always popular.
but they still have a whole bunch of counties like this. I mean, 6 precincts, 7 precincts.
They got more and more precincts, but where do you get the money from? That's why I'm covering the bonds today, we're covering the money, so you all know exactly where it comes, because it doesn't last forever. We're taking a $1 billion cut next year. And we've been paying monies when people don't work. And, you know, in reference, the commissioners, we pay very well, even our commissioners. Maverick County pays $30,000. You know, Frio County, it's less. But we've had a lot of work, but now the work is slowing down. The issue is, unless you do this, it ripples across the county, because this is the right thing and fair thing. Maybe business-wise, maybe political, it's not, but I guarantee that young woman a job. You do it the other way, I'm telling you, you can't keep up. You can't keep up with it.
It's too early to do this change, Judge.
You know,
No, we can only do it during census, there's no early. It's about getting some things, because,
we can do the redistricting, but we don't need to do the alignment on the JP.
I mean, we've already voted on it, but I want to make sure, I want the people to hear the tape, because you voted for it and now you're changing your mind.
well, I talked to Mr. Wyco, and he said he was okay. I mean, I'm okay with.
Michael's not here right now. And you already voted, and you said you didn't understand last time. Do you want us to replay the tape so people can hear it?
Replay the tape.
Because you said you didn't remember what you voted on.
Well, I thought that we're still gonna wait for Mr.
Rolando Rios.
Rolando
We
Rios.
covered it very, very clear. I don't know, Mr. Reeves,
Okay, he's there.
when he comes back,
You know, I mean,
we'll play it.
Mr. Wyco, I mean, if he's okay, I mean, it doesn't matter to me, I mean.
It's not Mr. Wyko's. You got to make a business decision, because the money's not coming in the way unless you realign it. And you got to make a decision, and you're going to have to make some cuts. And I'm always the bad guy, and I know I am, and you can't play those games with me, but it's serious.
Games, I mean, I mean.
No, Judge,
Mr. Reese, could you, put in the diskette of March 29th?
but still, I mean, Judge, that's not the point.
The point is that
We don't,
always
I don't
feel
wanna-
sorry for
I
when
don't
it
wanna-
makes the decisions.
I don't want, I mean, it's not that, I don't want to change the precinct now. I'm up for election. A lot of us are up for election.
We're all think about us. I mean, Commissioner, I mean, we had our election. I mean, we got a big raise. We got 89,000?
Well, you didn't want it, and then when me and Jack.
Why do you think I didn't want it? Because I had a lot of people run against me.
No.
Commissioner, I had eight guys run against me.
Well, you-
Because everybody was saying we get 89,000.
No.
I mean, that's what
I've
it is.
been doing it for a long
He's gotta-
time. I've been here 15 years.
But
nothing's
the
happened.
thing is, we made some
He hasn't done
decisions.
anything 15 years.
We made,
Why are you so in favor of that?
What?
still-
It's time to,
you still
they came here,
vote
they
for
change it. Why not? I mean, we're not making any money.
Can we
all
take
the
this line
counties.
item into executive session? If
Why?
we're gonna be going back and forth?
no, it has to be public. We can table the item, but I can guarantee you, the tape is very, very clear. And we covered it very, very much. And the money's not coming in on the JP, you gotta have that decision.
We have $29 million in reserve, which is good. I appreciate that. We got plenty of money. And then I don't know what you're talking about. They're drilling, they're fracking so many wells. I don't know why you say there's no money.
I don't know.
There's so much money coming
I don't know
into
what
the
you're looking at.
account.
You think we have a lot of money, but ask the appraisal district, we lost $900 million in value. And the worries and the books and making extra money, it doesn't fall on you. I have to read all that.
It's just numbers.
It's just numbers, but see, the thing is, when work's not coming in, people say, well, you're paying those people and they're not doing any work and I'm working here full time and they're not there. You know, it's not fair. I know I got two commissioners that are out everywhere and I got two commissioners that are not out everywhere. And there's discrepancies there because, you know, and you hear it. But for the people who do want to work, like Brianna wants to work, and Waco wants to work, and they're going to get more tickets, you know, that's great. That's great. But we've gone through this and we explained it and we covered it in the budget cycle and we made a decision based on what you said. Do it now, we're fine. So we wouldn't cut them. So now we've paid an extra $150,000 in that JP precinct that we wouldn't have had to pay if you would have, you know, held to your conviction that you have now, but we've had to pay a lot extra.
And I
I
understand.
didn't know he was gonna get this
I
far.
understand that JP's office over there is not making enough money, it needs a cut, well, I understand, you know. I mean, it's understandable. I
And you say,
understand that.
and then you say political decisions are made, and they are, and those decisions cost us. They cost us a lot of money, and a couple of years ago, we bid out Jardín to do the culverts, and there was 3 bidders. And on those 3 bidders, I think it was like $300,000. You know, the commissioner wasn't happy, so nobody got it. And then we bid out that same project with Weaver as a whole project, and those 3 bridges now came out to $600,000. But and if you look at the construction contract from Weaver and the bids that you did, and look at it, it was more, and I asked Jorge about it. And those have this decisions because we make political decisions and we want our local contractors to get work, and sometimes they don't. But we got to make decisions. The same thing with the JP officer. We got to be fair. But then when you're paying equal and other people aren't working, that's not fair with the others. It's not fair. And I know you're close to them, and I feel sorry for them giving them help. And that's exactly what you said. You know. And it comes back to the next budget cycle, it's over and over again. And I don't think it should be going up, down, up, down, up, down, when the work's never been there.
I understand that if there's no money coming in, not picking on anybody, if the work not coming in, you know, there's gonna have to be a budget cut, there's have to be a budget cut.
No, the roads are.
You know, I mean, what can you do? It's like everywhere else, you know. But here, we're at the target, you know what, you lower my pay, I will vote for you, Will. If I gotta take the hit, I'm gonna respect everybody's vote. No matter it come down, I talked to Judge Waiko, he's happy. Bianda, I mean, I never hear her complain. She's, I guess, an outstanding, she caught on to her stuff good, and she does outstanding work. I've never heard Waiko say anything bad about it.
The realignment allows those 6 tickets and those tickets on the highway, not precinct 2, because that line is right around Artesia, to go to them, which they're getting right now. And DPS is sending them to them. If they weren't getting the tickets, and there's some reason that Roxanne's not getting tickets either because they haven't been following it. If people know they can get them shifted to precinct 1, then it's possible that those volumes are going to go down. It's not up above on board being done.
So how come she don't get no tickets?
I don't know. I mean, we'd have to ask the
Why
officers.
doesn't she get tickets?
I don't know. We'd have to ask the officers. But going back on the volumes and looking at the numbers, and they're there, and you can go to Mary and get those numbers for years. And I've been looking at them. The thing is that you got to make a business decision. If the money's not coming in, where are you going to pay? And right now, their numbers have been going down. I mean, as far as being going up, they've been going up. Georgia's have been going up. George for a while didn't pay for himself, and over the last few years is not paying for himself where he has positive money coming in. They're getting to the point. If you go back and cut 6, you're gonna make it to where they don't get the money and you're gonna put that woman out of a job.
What woman?
Oh, Brianda. And you're gonna put her out of a job. If you look at the numbers that are coming in, and we can have Jorge, may have somebody independent pull those numbers from the budgets, to show, you're gonna put them out.
So all numbers are the same, not just this precinct, all the precincts are.
But they're not the same because the monies don't come in the same. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to make the numbers the same population-wise, so they have territory, so she'd have volume of work coming in. And over here, JD's not getting precinct 5, so she doesn't collect any. She gets precinct 5 tickets over there and make 4 and 5. Then she's gonna have more tickets and it stays at 50. That's why I said we'll leave it as is, because she gets 5.
We let Pee-wee get another assistant constable and I mean,
But the sheriff's office,
everything's fine.
but the sheriff's office, you need to look at law enforcement, it's not always tickets, it's protection, and they're out there.
Yeah, that's all.
So we went up on the sheriff because there's a volume and need. But the monies and tickets they come in, they're not all tickets. Some of them go to county court,
Most of
some
them
of
goes to
district court, some of them don't take.
State.
So it's not, so you can't look at the sheriff and the constable the same way you look at the JPs. But we've been working on cutting down and asking questions where we spend the money, what we can do, because everybody says we're rich, like they have to, we are rich. Well, fund balance means that's positive. It doesn't mean that's cash in the bank. There's a difference there. There's a difference there. But, you know, the attitude that we're rich and we can do whatever we want, we can't.
What's the reason you all don't want to change it now? I mean, we have already agreed everything. No, I'm just asking you, what's the reason?
It's already changed.
What's the reason?
It's already changed. The thing is,
That's all I want to know.
I can't do nothing about
Because maybe I'm
it.
missing something, but.
no,
I'd like to
in
know
the
what-
change, are you gonna pay for those fees that we spent out of y'all's budget? Because that's what I want,
If we have
and that's what I
to,
like, huh?
if we have to, we
Yeah,
have
but
to, I mean.
the deal is, I mean, why do y'all change your mind now? I mean, what's the deal? I mean, something I'm not
I
catching.
never did want it. I never did want it.
Yeah. You
That's
mean
why
why?
you don't say.
Well,
when
we'll
there's a
play the
motion,
tape so
just-
people can hear.
I don't hear
How
it.
much work would that be on Ms. Malone now on a short period of time to do all those changes? Only one employee, because one's out on the FMLA. How much work would that be on her?
Right now, it's not gonna be any change. Time, it's just changing the,
Precinct,
It'd be a lot of heat if I go,
align.
if somebody goes to vote, oh man, you're no longer this precinct, now I can't vote here. They're all gonna be hitting her.
It's gonna confuse a lot of
you,
people,
you got 2 things right now.
especially the older
You
people,
you
that get
got
confused.
2 things. We voted on the first portion to change 2 and 2A. That's just a computer code, that's it, that's fast. And 4 and 4A. And you asked for 4A. You asked for 4A.
My neighborhood don't want 4, they want 5.
They want- But you asked for 4A, not what your neighborhood wants.
I didn't
You
never,
asked for 4A, yes, sir.
I never did that.
Yes, sir, you asked for 4A.
No, sir, I
No.
never did want to change it.
You must have
Because
something
I'm
wrong. Could we play the tape of 29? And I think on the agenda,
Judge, how come you get mad?
I get mad because,
We need to work together.
well, I get mad and I get upset because look, all this creates a lot of work.
I know it's a lot of work.
And the numbers come through, I have to spend hours. And we've made decisions in the planning and reviewing plans, and we spent money. And people depend on us to make these decisions. And you have to go back and research because you said you didn't vote on it.
I didn't say I
But you didn't know what you're voting on. So we're gonna make it very, very clear. We're gonna make it very clear today, at least to the public. 1, the 29th, and then when the hard comes, how we explained it all, and all the questions he asked. You all asked a lot of questions.
I didn't even, I just say, huh? I know, but before that.
But you knew the meeting was coming up.
don't know where I was, but no.
But that's why you because you want to be part of it.
It don't matter. I'm still against it, and if we have to go by a vote, and we can't go by a vote, we gotta table it. All right, I'll make the motion to table it. So I can further, I need to get more information.
I don't know if we can do it, let me play it here. So you made a motion to table it.
No, I want to take action. I want to leave it as is. We can, I don't mind, Mr. Rolando Rios, redistrict, take away some land of mine or houses or whatever, but I want to make a motion to keep it as is on the JPs. Am I wrong?
Right now, you said leave it as is. And are you saying second? Are you gonna second it?
As it right now, or as it?
The way we have it, the way we have it.
Because
One,
I'm
two,
telling you
three,
now,
four.
I'm telling you now, as is
One,
right
two,
now,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I'm telling you right now, as is,
Pues what-
it already changed. So if you're voting as is right now, you're leaving the change that we made. The change is made. It's already done. It's passed, there's an order, and it's done.
Okay, how come you put it back in the agenda, last meeting? It was already a done deal.
Because you sent an email, and out of respect for you, I put it on there.
No, pero that time when I was there, and I said to table it, why did you put it back in the agenda if it was already?
Well, you have the right to be at the commissioner's court because it's not over. We have to make
No,
decisions.
I have a right.
We have to make a decision. So I put it on the
And
agenda
I
if you
should have
requested.
tabled it back then, the 29th.
We didn't table, we had a meeting. And
No,
you want to
but-
haul cattle and he can't be.
No, I was
You're
not hauling cattle, I was with a
That's fine.
doctor. I was my doctor, and I was tired of skipping my doctor's appointment.
But this is the order that we have.
No?
This is the order that we have.
Okay,
And it's done.
let me see. Yeah. Did Margie write all that down there with a pin?
Our motion, we covered it in the report and we read it out.
So that, she missed that part? It's, further result, that this resolution, I can't read it. Motion by J. Alba. ¿Qué puso todo eso? No se puede ver en la guía.
No, está bien, a mí no dejar el 6 sino que ya ustedes.
even this, to go back and doing this, I have to put on a whole week, Margie had to be pulling records to go back because, didn't understand what happened. And last year also on September 2nd, when we covered the facility, we went through it very in detail. We spent a lot of time on it. And, it's one of those things that maybe when you change your mind and it costs money and it takes a lot of time. I was gonna say the 365 up there. And it's like the materials, you get these games over here, you both signed off, but and you signed off on the other road, that. But then you go to Texas for everyone to do.
So what do I get?